In today's video, I'm talking about all the books that I plan to read during the month of January, my January TBR. So stick around to see what they are. Hey friends, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. So I'm very, very late with this month, but I am doing my January TBR today. All the books that I plan to read during the month of January, and there'll be a couple of others that aren't on this list because I requested some books from the library, which no doubt will show up as well this month. So the first book that I plan on reading is entitled, where are you? A Beautiful Thing Shop by Philip William Stover. So this is the second book in that series, and I didn't realize it was a part of a series, although they're completely standalone as they follow different characters. But yeah, so this is the second book that I read by this author, and I really enjoyed it, so I couldn't wait to get my hands on this one. So this is an arc that follows the elegant and very reserved, perhaps a bit snobbish even, fine arts dealer named Prescott J. Henderson, who runs the Beautiful Things shop in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Or I should say he just installed himself in the shop. What he didn't know is he's going to have to share a space in the shop with Danny Roman, his complete opposite, an extrovert who collects retro toys and colorful knickknacks. So they end up kind of trapped together in this situation as both of them prepare for the upcoming winter festival. But when two of New Hope's historic landmarks are threatened, the two men end up forming an alliance, and with it, of course, a romance forms. So suddenly running the shop together doesn't seem like such a horrible thing after all, until Danny's secret threatens to ruin it all. So sounds good, looking forward to it. The next book is As Far As You'll Take Me by Phil Stamper. So this is the author of The Gravity of Us, another book that I read and enjoyed. And this book is a coming-of-age story about finding the people who become your home. So it follows Marty, who arrives in London, excited to start his new life, where he's no longer the closeted shy kid and is free to explore his sexuality without his parents' disapproval. So in the span of a few weeks, he's made new friends, he even has a boyfriend, and he's traveling a bit around Europe. But he knows that he cannot keep up the facade for too much longer. He hasn't spoken to his parents once since his arrival, his savings is running out fast, and his anxiety and homesickness are starting to get kind of bad. So what is Marty to do? I guess we'll find out. The third book I'm reading, this is actually a short story collection. It's called The Other You by Joyce Carol Oates. So this is a collection of short stories that examines alternate destinies. That is to say, the other lives that we may have led if we've made different choices. Kind of makes me think a little bit of The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, which is a book that I loved and adored. So those of you who know me know that I love stuff like this, alternate universes, books surrounding memory, and the like. So I'm really looking forward to delving into this collection. The next book I'm reading is entitled In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. And this was December's Book of the Month Club selection. And I'm using this for the do-overs prompt for my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. And put a card up above with a link to the Pop Sugar video if you're interested. So this kind of has a Groundhog Day theme from what I can gather. It follows Malin Jones, who ends up reliving the same holiday vacation over and over again, leading to one disaster after another. So I assume she has to figure out somehow how to break free of the strange time loop. So it sounds like a super fun read. Next book is entitled Mind Games by Nancy Mill. And I actually run this as a Goodreads drawing, so I'm using this for the free book prompt for the Pop Sugar Challenge. So this is a thriller that follows Kaylee Quinn, an FBI behavior analyst who has just been outed as the daughter of an infamous serial killer. So because of that, she's been demoted to field agent and has been transferred to St. Louis. So the same reporter who outed her claims to have received an anonymous poem predicting a string of murders ending with Kaylee's. Then a body is found that fits the poem's predictions. So The FBI then sends a special agent Noah Hunter to St. Louis to work on the case with Kaylee. So I do believe that the two of them end up working together to solve the case before the killer can find Kaylee. So I'll probably talk about this in another Thriller Thursday video as well. If I like it, of course. The next book is entitled Dumpling by Julie Murphy. And I'm using this for the book about body positivity prompt for my Pop Sugar Reading Challenge. And this follows a self-proclaimed fat girl named Willow Dean Dixon, who is known as Dumpling, who is called Dumpling by her former mom, who is a beauty queen. And she's always been at home in her own skin. She's comfortable with her weight and who she is. So she takes a job at a fast food joint and meets Bo, a hot former jock. Now, Will isn't surprised to find herself attracted to Bo, but she's a little bit surprised when Bo seems to like her back. So instead of finding new heights of self-assurance in her relationship with Bo, she starts to doubt herself. She starts to have self-doubt. So she sets out to take back her confidence by doing the most horrifying thing she can imagine, entering a beauty pageant. So we then follow her adventures of the pageant, I guess. So I've heard a lot of great things about this book, so I can't wait to delve into it. Next up is The Water Dancer by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I'm using this book for the a book everyone's read but you prompt for the Pop Sugar Challenge. So this follows young Hiram Walker, who was born into bondage. When his mother was sold, Hiram lost all of the memories of her, but was gifted with a mysterious power. So years later, he nearly drowns in a river, but that power he was gifted saves his life. So this brush with death gives him a new outlook and new courage, and he decides he's going to escape his bondage. So as he does, the rest of the book follows his adventures. So this book has received a lot of positive hype, and I've read a lot of great things about it, so I'm looking forward to it. The next book I'm reading is entitled Chasing Ghosts by Dean Cole. So this follows a somewhat odd fellow named Quentin Strange, who has been seeing and hearing ghostly things. So getting the gig as a photographer for the Cricklewood Gazette, I think that's what it's called, Cricklewood Gazette, he ends up traveling with his new partner to an enormous manor house that is believed to be one of the most haunted places in Britain. So the two of them join a ghost hunting team for a long weekend. So there's supposedly something really dark haunting the manor, and it has links to a decades-old supernatural mystery. So this is the first book in a series, and typically I tend to avoid series, but this one sounds like a lot of fun and quite quirky, and I've been hearing a lot about it recently, so I'm going to check it out. Next up is 9 Perfect Strangers, written by Leanne Moriarty. So with this, 9 people gather at a remote health resort called Tranquillum House, where they are to remain for the next 10 days. So Frances Welty, a popular romance author, arrives at the resort, and she's immediately intrigued by her fellow guests. But the person that intrigues her the most is the odd, eccentric director/owner of the Tranquillum House. So could this person really have the answers that Frances didn't even know she was seeking? Should Frances put aside her doubts and immerse herself in everything that the resort has to offer? Or should she run while she still can? So it's not long before every single guest at Tranquillum House is asking themselves the same question. So I do believe that there's a murder somewhere along the way, as I do think this is referred to as a locked room mystery, which is the prompt that I'm using for the Pop Sugar Challenge. So I bought this book a while ago in audiobook format, so I'm looking forward to finally getting around to it. And I have a couple of other books that I might be reading, but I'm not sure yet. So we'll just call those surprise books in my TBR. So how about you? What are you planning on reading in January? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, please click the like button below, as it really helps my channel out. And as always, I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.